Hey there, it's Laura M and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for joining us, and if you are a returning friend, then thank you so much for coming by. Today I will be doing my January 2021 Plan With Me video, and it's themed The Sims, which is really fun. So after writing that Sul January, I'm now going in with some watercolor paint to paint this plumb bob. And as you can see, I had a little bit of trouble at first getting enough water and having enough paint, but I quickly remedied that. By the way, if you're wondering what Sul means, it means hello in Simlish, which is the language that the Sims speak in the game. I am obsessed with this game. It's been a huge part of my life for years now, and it's just very nostalgic to me, especially when I play the older games. So I thought it would be the perfect theme for this month. Moving on, we have my January calendar page, where I start off by just, writing the title of the month. And I went in ahead of time and sort of marked out the calendar a bit, just so that way, for the sake of the video, I would have a bit of a reference to what I'm supposed to be doing. Also, because this is a new journal for me, I'm still getting used to the dimensions and the grid spacing, so it takes so I don't have automatically knowing that, oh, it's 6 by 6 spaces, which is what it was in my last journal that I would usually use for my calendar. So I have a little bit to get used to here. So now up here, I'm just working on my notes section, where it's basically anything that I have to put into January that doesn't fit in one of the calendar day spaces that I put out. I can just stick right there in the notes section. In all honesty, I had a little bit of extra space, so that's why I did that. And then I have my forward to February, which I put every month, my forward to next month section, where I write down any appointments, any special days or events that are coming up next month. Moving on, I'm going to be working on my spending tracker, where, as you can see, I decided to paint the little headers with that same watercolor paint that I've been using, and that's sort of going to be the main part of the theme throughout the month. I didn't want to get too intricate with it, although I definitely could have, because The Sims gives a lot of content to work with. But I just decided to go very simple, kind of minimal for this month, especially since I'm still getting used to filming these. and it's a little harder for me to be filming intricate stuff. So now up here, I'm just writing down that this is the spending tracker, even though I already know what page it is, just because I thought that that space could use a little bit of a header. A header. And then I go back and I write down the title of each column, which is the date, the transaction that I'm doing, and then the amount that I'm spending. Next, I have my brain dump and my tracker page. So starting off with my brain dump page, I'm just going to head the page with the word brain dump, and then I have a little drawing of Bella Goth, who is one of the most famous Sims out there, and I will get to her in a minute. Now I'm doing my trackers, so I'm doing two types of trackers. I'm doing my habit tracker, which is the one that I'm working on now, and then next to it you'll see I have calendar shaped trackers, and those are my medication trackers. So here I am coloring Bella Goth, and like I said, she's one of the most famous or infamous Sims there are. She has this really cool backstory involving possible like alien kidnapping, abduction, like it's wild. You should definitely look into it, especially if you're into The Sims or into just lore in general. I highly recommend looking into Bella Goth's story. So I'm just going with very simple colors here. She has a very simple color palette. It's like 2, 3, 4 different colors, and then that's it. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with how the coloring came out. It definitely came out a lot better than it's coming out on camera. And then I just went over with this Tombow dual brush marker her hair because I didn't like how the colored pencil looked. And now I'm giving it a minute to dry off. And then I move on to my weekly spread. So for some reason, when planning all of this out a few weeks ago, I thought it would be a good idea to have this last week of December be part of my January spread, which I guess makes a little bit of sense because it's like 3 days into January by the end of this week. But I don't know. It also is kind of weird. I definitely should have just put this last week in my last bullet journal. But oh well, what can you do? So now this is very new to me. This is my first time working with stamps. For my first time, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It's definitely a little sloppy and something I need to practice more. The ink I feel like could have been darker, but it is, as the ink box said, just for kids. So it's probably a lower quality ink. I don't know too much about it, but ultimately I am very happy with how it came out, and I will try to work with stamps more in the future. These I got for Christmas. They are the Image Tree alphabet stamps. They're wooden rubber stamps. And then I also got another type too. Momenta, I believe they are. And you'll see me use them for when I do the numbers. Now, the numbers don't really come up too well. I did them over the the green plumb bobs. The numbers don't come out too well, too noticeable, but like I said, it is my first time working with stamps, and the ink was a little bit light, but ultimately I am pretty happy with how it came out. So here is the final flip through for my January spreads, and I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I love the watercolor paint. I think it's such a vibrant shade of green, and I think it just really fits the mood that I was trying to go for. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.